So this is why a lot of people's prayer enterprise is not strong, because they depend on people's prayer. He said, when you pray, Apostle Paul said, God is my witness that I bow my knees in prayer. There is always a you factor in prayer. The effectual fervent prayer of a what? Righteous. That's where a lot of people fail. They don't know the righteousness of God. So anytime they want to pray, Satan attacks them with their righteousness. Say you are not qualified to pray, oh God. Satan will say you are not. If you be God, you will answer your prayer. Meanwhile, it's not an attack. It's also a test. It's also part of the test. Part of the training process. You are going on a spiritual adventure. See, let me tell you something. Even in the demonic world, if you want to go and get negative power, the demons you are going to contact, they will also try to withstand you, to test you. A brother shared a story with me. He said when he was in the world, he desired power so much so that he decided to journey into the dark world to receive power. So he heard of this Dibia, this Sangoma, this herbalist, and he went to visit that. He traveled to an interior village and he went to visit the herbalist. The first thing the herbalist did for him was that the herbalist needed to toughen his heart. So the herbalist dug a grave after they did some ritual cleansing or fasting or something. The herbalist now takes him to that graveside that he had dug and he placed him there. He said, go inside there and lie down. And then he said the herbalist sprayed one type of perfume. He said that was when he discovered that perfume, meanwhile that was a very cheap perfume that was going around those days. That's when he discovered that perfume was a marine perfume. Don't just buy anything because it's cheap. There are some scents you put on yourself. You know this something wrong. Something is wrong with this scent. Have you not experienced it before? You put some perfume on, it's wrong. Something is wrong with it. So he said they spread that scent around and then he laid down. And then his heart was beating hard. The next thing he discovered was that it's like he dozed off or something. He didn't know how it happened. Then he saw this creature like a bat. This creature came and then entered inside him. That's what happened. And then he jerks back up. He said he discovered that when he rose from that grave site, he could not be afraid anymore. He was looking for fear. He could walk. He could not be afraid anymore. Do you know what it means for someone not to be? See, when we talk about the boldness that comes from the Holy Ghost, even the dark people they have their own version of that thing. I have the spirit of boldness and faith. And when we hear anything, you are the first, you are running, you are saying, I'll be Jesus Christ of Nazareth. You are the one shouting Jesus in all the whole languages on earth. Yet you are the one in front of us. What did Yeshua say about prayer? Yeshua saw prayer as audience with your Father. He said, your Father who sees in secret. You discover that the same way the Lord sees your prayer, that's how he also sees your acts of righteousness. All done in secret, where he sees. His eyes are in the secret, and he would reward you openly. So when you carry out your acts of righteousness, don't do it to be seen of men. So that your Father who has seen what you've done in secret will reward you openly. In the same way, when you pray, don't do it to be seen of men. Motive is the problem. It's not that we cannot gather as a congregation to pray. It's a motive. Why are you praying? Do you want to appear righteous before men? Meanwhile, every act of prayer is a good act and it will be rewarded. But the problem is that the honor man have for you because you pray outside can become your reward of prayer. There's no bad prayer. It's only the prayer of a sinner that's an abomination. What's the prayer of a sinner in that context? The prayer of a sinner is one who doesn't have a good relationship with God, yet is trying to lay demands on God. The only prayer a sinner should pray is the prayer of salvation and mercy. That's his most important prayer. Anything outside that is an abomination. You are trying to demand something from a God you have no connection to. Apart from that, every act of prayer is a good thing. Because you came to God, There's a reward for you. But it doesn't mean because you came, everything you say will be answered. Because whenever you appear before him that says in secret, he doesn't just see the secret acts of prayer you engage in when you are in your closet. He also sees your heart. He weighs the intents of the heart. He knows the real reason why you are praying. The moment you stand before God to pray, you are before a balance in the spirit. You are weighed and measured. You can pray to feel good, but see, you cannot deceive a spirit. That's why one of the ways to know that what you are doing strikes a chord in the spirit is that that spirit responds to you. I was meditating in my house today. I say, God, how many people truly have contact with you? How many people can call upon their God now and he will answer? Yeshua said, Father, I thank you for you heareth me always. We have people who pray and yet even then, they don't even believe their prayers. They don't even trust the God they are praying to. One of the reasons why a lot of people don't trust their prayers, I will tell you the truth, is because they don't trust their walk with God. One of the things that acts as an impediment to effective prayer life is insecurity as touching your walk with the Lord. That's why it is important to know the foundations of the gospel of Christ. If not, you begin to pray from self-righteousness. And obviously, you and I are not righteous. We will keep making mistakes. And then Satan will use that thing against you in the place of prayer. So you'll be praying from doubt. Meanwhile, the Bible said, he that cometh unto God must first believe. The Bible says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. You must first believe that he is and is the rewarder of those who diligently seek him. But when you go and pray, Satan will tell you that, oh, you like this. You think God will hear your prayers. And if your faith is not built on the solid rock, you begin to faint. You begin to lose heart. The prayer enterprise is so beautiful that if you begin to engage in true prayers with God, it's so beautiful. Sometimes God will keep the answer and say, just show to me how much you want it. Do you really, with this thing you're asking for, do you really want it? God, I want it. It's okay. Angels, let's give it to him in the next 3 months. If he can persevere for 3 months. Show us how much you want it. The Bible says the glory of God to conceal a matter, and what? The honor of kings to search it out. It's like an adventurer. You don't back down until you see answer. Elijah did not stop praying until there was a sign. Woo. You see, this is where fervency comes in prayer. You continue, you continue, you continue, and then you get it. One of the things that builds confidence in prayer life is answers that are seen. A lot of people are not matured in their prayer experience because they depend too much on people to pray for them. When would you grow? When would you know that God too can hear your voice? If you don't know how to press into God until you secure answer for number A, secure answer for B, secure answer for C, secure answer for D. At the end of the day, others are just playing a supporting role, but you know that if you call upon your God, there can be answer. So a lot of people's prayer enterprise is not strong. You know, they pray 1 or 2 times and then they begin to run around. So there's no certainty in God. When they are faced with troubles, they start desperately looking for any phone number to call. And if there's no phone number to call, they are depressed. So when will they grow? I've had issues where I prayed. Many issues where I prayed and God answered me. That's the confidence I pray with. Oh my God. It's not a matter of being a pastor. It's a matter of Christianity. You know that there is this God. When I was in school one time, I said, Lord, show me that you love me. Meanwhile, our light in that neighborhood was bad. We had not had light for, I think, a month or something. And I said, God, I know this thing sounds very impossible. But if you love me, and I told him that I said, I will never doubt that you love me after this. And I will never make this kind of prayer again. I said, if you love me, what I wanted to ask God to do was let NEPA bring the light now as a sign. So I said, Lord, if you love me, let NEPA, before I open mouth and say, bring the light, light came, boah. I ran out of the room. you think is after I've seen those kind of signs? You may say it's coincidence. I was there. The light was back 1 month. There's no coincidence, sir. What made it come that time when I'm uttering that prayer? When I saw that thing, my faith became strong. My faith became strong. So there are certain times I encounter some issues and I want to make the prayer and say, God, you love. I will just remember immediately. I say, never. I will never make this prayer again. God loves me. You see. So this is why a lot of people's prayer enterprise is not strong, because they depend on people's prayer. He said, when you pray, Apostle Paul said, God is my witness that I bow my knees in prayer. There is always a you factor in prayer. The effectual fervent prayer of a what? Righteous. That's where a lot of people fail. They don't know the righteousness of God. So anytime they want to pray, Satan attacks them with their righteousness. Say you are not qualified to pray, oh God. Satan will say, you and I know, if you be God, you will answer your prayer. Meanwhile, it's not an attack. It's also a test. It's also part of the test. Part of the training process. You are going on a spiritual adventure. See, let me tell you something. Even in the demonic world, if you want to go and get negative power, the demons you are going to contact, they will also try to withstand you, to test you. A brother shared a story with me. He said when he was in the world, he desired power so much so that he decided to journey into the dark world to receive power. So he heard of this Dibia, this Sangoma, this herbalist, and he went to visit that. He traveled to an interior village and he went to visit the herbalist. The first thing the herbalist did for him was that the herbalist needed to toughen his heart. So the herbalist dug a grave after they did some ritual cleansing or fasting or something. The herbalist now takes him to that graveside that he had dug and he placed him there. He said, go inside there and lie down. And then he said the herbalist sprayed one type of perfume. He said that was when he discovered that perfume, meanwhile that was a very cheap perfume that was going around those days. That's when he discovered that perfume was a marine perfume. Don't just buy anything because it's cheap. There are some scents you put on yourself. You know this something wrong. Something is wrong with this scent. Have you not experienced it before? You put some perfume on, it's wrong. Something is wrong with it. So he said they spread that scent around and then he laid down. And then his heart was beating hard. The next thing he discovered was that it's like he dozed off or something. He didn't know how it happened. Then he saw this creature like a bat. This creature came and then entered inside him. That's what happened. And then he jerks back up. He said he discovered that when he rose from that grave site, he could not be afraid anymore. He was looking for fear. He could walk. He could not be afraid anymore. Do you know what it means for someone not to be? See, when we talk about the boldness that comes from the Holy Ghost, even the dark people they have their own version of that thing. I have the spirit of boldness and faith. And when we hear anything, you are the first, you are running, you are saying, I'll be Jesus Christ of Nazareth. You are the one shouting Jesus in all the whole languages on it. Yet you are the one in front of us. He could not find fear anymore. That was the first stage of his preparation. And then the next stage was that he was taken to a T-junction. And at that T-junction, this sage, this herbalist he went to meet now told him, okay, I cannot journey with you anymore from this point. You continue going. You are going to, this is going to appear to you. Once it appears, don't be afraid. If you are afraid, you'll be lost. Don't be afraid. It's going to present a ring to you. He said, take the ring, and when you turn back to go back to this T-junction, he told him, he said, for whatever reason, don't look back. He said, even if you hear the voice, my voice or the voice of your mother, don't turn back. Satan. And so he journeys deep into the bush. And then he gets to a place where I think some ritual things were set up. And then I think he stood there. And after some, he knelt down there, I've forgotten how he said it. And then after some time, these beings appeared to him like a snake. And then he toppled himself. You know, see, the fact that he could stand that apparition was not because he was a strong man. Something was done on him. So to even have an encounter, he had to be prepared for it. This is why you hear some people, they just suddenly disappear. Sometimes not kidnapping. They went to seek Satan and they could not stand the test. So from there, they were lost. And trust me, the herbalists will never look for you. That's the end of Solomon Grande. Oh my God. And then when this thing appeared, he took, I think, the ring in the mouth of this. He was telling me live, this person, now a flaming man of God, but he sat us down, was just telling us about what people can do to get the power of Satan, and yet Christians are lazy about. And then he said, immediately he turned back. That's where the real test began. Now he was far from the T-junction. He was far. So he had to walk a little. He said when he started walking, nothing was happening. Then all of a sudden, he started feeling some sensation behind him. As though something was pulling his short knicker, pulling his ankle. Just to get him to like turn back. He said he kept on walking. Then the thing intensified. He could feel some beings behind him. You don't see. How do you want power without contesting? Before the Bible said Jesus returned, Jesus had to win first in the wilderness. Real power, sir, is not given in the public place. You can be given invitation in a public place, but power is in the secret. Don't expect power in the public place. It's in the secret. When Jesus would want to do certain things with the disciples, he will corner them to himself. He didn't call them before the whole crowd, maybe during one of his big evangelistic campaigns. And he said, okay, my disciples come, behold, I give unto you power. No, they were alone together. And so that continued. And then when he was not stopping, those demons started imitating the voices of people close to him. First of all, it was the herbalist's voice. So he heard the voice of the herbalist, called his name. He now stopped. The herbalist told him, turn back. Yes, you've done well. Turn back now. There's another power I want us to go and get together. He said, kept walking. The herbalist, the voice got angry. Are you not the one that I'm telling to turn back? Turn back. He kept walking. Oh, you don't want to turn back? I will deal with you. Turn back. He said what almost got him was when he now heard the voice of his own sister that he loved. Oh, Satan. And then the sister was shouting that he was calling his name. Help me, help. He said when he heard that, I asked him, I said, how did he say it sounded exactly like how the sister used to even call him when I think there's an intimate where they spoke. Everything exact. He said he didn't turn back. He stopped, but he didn't turn back. And when he crossed that T-junction, everything ceased. He said he was now going back to the house of the herbalist. The herbalist stood. It's like the herbalist liked him. So the herbalist stood waiting for him. Will this one make it this time? Many had come like that and they didn't return. So when the herbalist saw him, the herbalist now hailed him. My son. Kaya. Oga, he needs to be hailed because he overcame. God, today I want shawarma. God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He said I'll be used to play UEFA Champions League. Kai. He said, he that overcometh, I will give. Yes. There are some things that are not a gift. A man has to prove himself. I told you one day, I said there are certain things in the kingdom that are not gifted. Anything you see the word worthy used, those things are not gifted. You must prove yourself worthy for those things. Mantles, you must be worthy of it. Certain entrustments, oracles, you must be worthy of it. He said he came back and shoot him, nothing happened. He could walk through walls. He could, in fact, if people want to fight him, if he's one person, he will not fight because he will kill that person. So he wants them to be very many. When they are like 10, then that demon will rise in him. He said one day he was trying to experiment the power. So he punched a concrete wall and the thing broke off. Oh my God. You see. So there is a test of courage. There's a test of courage in such operations. If a man seeks to be empowered, there's a test of courage. If a man wants to journey, there must be resistance. In the same way, if you want to pray, there will be resistance. And you have to prove that you didn't come here to play. You see, there's one thing you must understand about spirits. They may come from different realms, different operations, but they have certain unifying factors. Even Satan loves the courageous. Satan, he loves courageous people. Satan loves sacrificial people. The way you see God loves people who are sacrificial, who are courageous, who love him wholeheartedly. Spirits don't know love from emotion. They know love from what you are willing to let go on their behalf. That's how they know their love. So Satan will tell the person, if you love me, it means there's no other person you will love more than me. So what you thought you love on earth, bring it as sacrifice unto me. To show that what you claim to be your love, because the love I have for you is superior, I can sacrifice this my love to you. So their love language is sacrifice. For God so loved the world that he gave. Yeshua said, no greater love has a man than this, for him to lay his life down for his friend. There is no greater love as a man than this, than for him to call his friend Lily of the Valley. That thing is good. But see, spirit, they don't see that thing you are saying. There's always a unifying factor. So if you want to seek something noble in God, the length you are willing to go will determine the kind of value you place on that thing.
Hello, thank you for watching the video, and I hope it was a great asset to you. And I hope it was also very useful time. If you haven't commented, if you haven't liked, please do that. And for more videos, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos. God bless you.